Deep in the night, as thunder shook the old mansion, a man named Thomas stood before a mirror holding a sharp kitchen knife. His hand trembled violently. Beneath his left jaw hung a grotesque, pulsating red lump the size of a child's head. As the cold blade touched his skin, the lump suddenly tore open a mouth and whispered, "You intend to cut me off. Do you think the world is ready to hear the secret buried in the forest 30 years ago?" Thomas screamed and dropped the knife. This was no ordinary tumor. 30 years ago, Thomas had betrayed his business partner for money and buried him alive in the deep woods. From that day on, a small knot formed under his jaw, feeding on the spirit of his dead friend to become this monstrous lump. Every night, the lump would replay the sounds of his friend's dying breaths, tormenting Thomas into madness. In the village, there was another man who watched Thomas closely. The village head. He was a man consumed by envy, mimicking Thomas's every move, from his expensive clothes to his walking stick. To the village head, Thomas was the ultimate idol he had to surpass. The village head believed even Thomas's hideous lump was a mark of a dark deal for wealth. On a night when rain poured down like a curse, the village head spied from his window. He saw Thomas, covered in a dark, hooded cloak, secretly slipping out of his mansion gate. "He is going to get more power," the village head muttered, his eyes wide with greed. He immediately grabbed his coat to follow him. Thomas arrived at the Swamp of Oblivion, at the northern edge of the world. The smell of death hung heavy in the air. In the center sat an ancient witch, her skin like rotting wood and her eye sockets completely hollow. Thomas fell to his knees in the mud. The village head, hiding in the reeds, held his breath and watched. "It smells of blood," the witch said, turning her eyeless face toward Thomas. "The thing under your jaw is very loud." Thomas banged his head on the ground and begged, "Please, take this terrible lump away. I will give you half of my fortune." The witch tapped the ground with her skeletal finger. "I have no need for gold. I will take your pain, but in return, I will take your humanity. You will become an empty shell, feeling neither sadness nor joy nor fear. Do you accept?" Desperate to escape the voices, Thomas screamed, "I don't care. Make me a monster if you must. Just silence this noise." The witch laughed hideously and reached out. Her claw-like nails dug into the lump, but strangely, not a drop of blood was spilled. With a sickening sound, she tore the red mass from his jaw and dropped it into an earthenware jar. "The deal is done." Thomas stood up. His face was smooth, but his eyes were as dead as a fish. As he walked away through the fog, a venomous snake bit his leg. His flesh began to rot, but he did not scream, nor did he even frown. He had become a living corpse, incapable of feeling pain or fear. He disappeared into the darkness. Watching from the bushes, the village head saw this differently. To him, Thomas's lack of reaction to the snake bite looked like the calmness of a transcendent being. "I cannot let him get ahead of me." Blinded by jealousy, the village head burst out of the reeds and ran toward the witch. The village head stood arrogantly before the witch, thrusting a heavy bag of gold coins into her face. "Give me the same thing you gave him. I can pay you double, triple the amount." He did not fear her appearance. His greed was far greater than his terror. The witch stared at him with her empty sockets. She pointed a bony finger at his bulging belly, filled with gluttony. "You have no lump to remove, but you have a bottomless pit of greed to fill. You envy others so much. Perhaps you should take what the owner abandoned." Before the village head could answer, the witch opened the jar. The horrific red lump flew out like a hungry beast, seeking a new host. The village head's arrogance turned to horror as he saw the red mass hurtling toward him. The lump slammed into the village head's jaw and fused with his flesh instantly. He screamed in excruciating pain, clawing at his neck with his ring-covered fingers, but it was useless. The lump began to whisper into his ear. "Now you shall listen. Let me tell you how Thomas killed his friend 30 years ago." The village head was forced to inherit a sin he did not commit and a guilt that was not his. He rolled in the filthy swamp mud, screaming, burdened with another man's hell for the rest of his life. We often blindly envy the lives of others. We look at their success and assume they are happier than us. But behind the mask of a smiling face or a luxurious life, there may lie a pain or guilt so terrible that you could not bear it for a single second. Do not peek into the lives of others. Jealousy not only destroys your own happiness, but eventually brings the misfortunes of others upon you. The burden of life is lightest when you carry only your own. The moment you covet someone else's burden, you will be crushed by its weight. Look into the mirror. Are you living with your own face, or are you wearing a mask to mimic someone else? True freedom comes only when you stop desiring the lives of others and embrace your own. This was 100 years of advice.